Samuel Trueheart was a private in the 5th United States Cavalry and was mustered into that unit here at Camp Nelson in September of 1864.
He wants to understand what Trueheart and other Black Kentuckians experienced when they joined the U.S. Army and achieved their freedom.
We always knew that our ancestor had served in the Civil War, but not much else about his service.
The camp sits within Union territory but was built with slave labor, underscoring the complex relationship between Kentucky, the U.S. Army, and the African Americans who had come here to enlist. For David Brown, discovering Trueheart's enlistment records forced him to reconsider his family's history.
Family lore was that Sam was not a slave, that he was a free man.
But the records David found told a different story.
We found through my research that he was a slave. The story was that his father bought his mother out of slavery. So I don't know when that happened, so I don't know why he wasn't freed at that point. I'm assuming his father couldn't afford to buy both of them out.
The records list where Samuel lived and who his enslaver was. His path to the battlefield was far more difficult than his descendants ever realized.
As far as we know, he grew up and was enslaved in Shelby County, which is not around the corner, but not too far from Camp Nelson. I'm assuming that he, at some point had learned about the opportunity to enlist and decided it was his chance to pursue his freedom.
Trueheart, along with Newton Bush and George White, were among thousands of men escaping enslavement and heading for Camp Nelson and other recruitment camps in Kentucky. They'd most likely learned about the opportunity through word of mouth. And until they reached camp, they were considered fugitives and in extreme danger. Although these men did not leave diaries, the autobiography of a fellow soldier, Elijah Mars, describes what they were facing. Day was now breaking. We were within the lines of the Union Army, and by 8 o'clock, we were at the recruiting office. By 12 o'clock, the owner of every man of us was in the city hunting his slaves.
To get to Camp Nelson, it was treacherous. As Myers talked about it in his book, they would have to hide out and stay in barns and areas that were secretive, because if they got caught, they could have been beaten, they could have been sold or returned to their own owners, but they managed to make it.
I had before thought about it more the place he came to enlist in the Army, but realizing now, as I've learned more about Camp Nelson, about Kentucky during that era, that this was a place they came to seek freedom.